Many everyday items are crafted from plastic, and it's a fantastic product. But in the 60 years since its introduction, it hasn't changed much. The world has. So it's time for a better product. It's time for Avantium's PEF.
I think it's the first time that we see a product like this coming to the market, and that is why so many people are excited about it. Certain people are excited about it's green, it has a great carbon footprint. Other people are excited because it has performance benefits that they can use in bottles or in other forms of packaging.
It all started in 2005. Avantium's Chief Technology Officer, Gert-Jan Gruter, discovered a revolutionary method to make furandy carboxylic acid, or FDCA, from sugar. This discovery, made with a simple bag of sugar from the canteen, has paved the way for a new era in sustainable materials.
The story that is well known, we really used some sugar from our company restaurant, and we did a first experiment in our lab to show that we could make an intermediate, a precursor for this furan dicarboxylic acid. The rest is history, that's where it all started. The real value, of course, came later when we found out that the polymer that we can make from this monomer also had much better properties than PET. So if you have a bottle, oxygen can migrate through the plastic wall into the bottle, and CO2 can migrate out. This barrier is 10 times better than for PET. With the same thickness, you have 10 times longer shelf life.
Doing the invention is one thing. Bringing it to a worldwide market is another. It demands a strong belief in the product, perseverance, and a network of like-minded partners.
The industry is used to the fossil plastics that we've been using since the 60s and 70s. Throughout the years, the production of those fossil plastics have become huge. So there are huge fossil plastic factories around the world that are producing plastics very cheaply. So the industry is very attached and used to this type of plastics, and therefore changing their supply chains and their way of working towards a new material like PEF doesn't come overnight. In order to create change, we need to show to the industry, to the market, and to the consumer that it is actually possible to change to sustainable materials. And the only way to do that is by creating examples.
So PEF is a material that we continue to evaluate for various applications. But one of the things that actually lured us into looking at PEF to begin with are the quality properties. And one of the key things that PEF does is it is able to retain the fizz in the beer 8 times better than PET, and therefore it is a really interesting material for us to use for our particular products.
We have been positively surprised about the properties of PEF. I was actually this week with one of the world's biggest industrial clients, and we were looking at some trials, and actually the look and feel is quite impressive. The other side of doing products in our business is also performance. So it needs to go through very, very strict performance evaluations. And for now, it looks also promising.
It's materials that challenge the status quo. It's materials that might not be readily available today at scale, but where we plan for the future in order to actually create materials that have better properties, that are lower carbon, and that is able to enter into the circular economy again and again.
And Avantium's project was in many ways transformational, or could become transformational. In a way, the transformation you see from traditional cars to electric cars.
In many different aspects, it is a unique time in history. And I think many people really want to see, all right, when is the product going to be on the shelf and when can I touch it? And that's where this plant in Delfzijl is so incredibly important for, because this will allow us to actually put it on the market.
Now, it's time to take the next step. Avantium's new flagship plant will produce FDCA on a large commercial scale for the first time. With a capacity of 5 kilotons per year, this opening is a monumental milestone for Avantium, transforming a pioneering discovery in a lab into a commercial-scale reality.
What we intend to do is we want to sell licenses of our technology to companies that want to build large plants. A company that is interested in taking a license to build 100,000 tons facility. They want to be sure that that technology will work at that scale. And that's why it's so important that we prove the technology at a 5,000 tons scale. It's very special that this plant is being built because it's a plant that's the first of its kind. And as such, you can imagine, there has been so much energy and effort from many people to get to this point that it's going to be extremely emotional to get to the milestone or the opening of the Flagship plant. And maybe you might even see some tears of happiness.
You sacrifice so much and you get yourself involved so much, and then to see end product that really works is really something that, for me, it will leave a mark, I must say.
On one hand, it feels like the end of a sort of a marathon, because we've been running a marathon with a whole team of people to get to that point. But I also know it's not really the end of this. It's actually the start of a new phase. Because this is really when the material is going to be in the hands of consumers. And we will actually start to see what the real potential is of this new technology.
Avantium is on the brink of a groundbreaking revolution in sustainable materials. The potential of PEF is enormous. And with this innovative production method, the sleeping giant is finally waking up.